I'm going to show a little trick so you can master the 9 times table. It's not just about memorizing it, but rather about applying a very simple and straightforward formula. First, to the number that you're going to multiply by 9, you simply need to add a 0 to the multiplier, right? Second, you need to subtract the multiplier. For example, let's take 9 times 7 as an example. We already know that the answer to that is 63. You put a 0 next to the 7. It becomes 70, and you say to yourself, let's see, 70 minus 7. 70 minus 7, which equals 63. 9 times 7, yes, 63. It's 36, but where does the 36 come from? You put a 0 next to the 4 and subtract. 40 minus 4. That is, you take 40 and subtract 4 from it. And 40 minus 4 is 36. Where does the 81 come from? You put a 0 next to the 9 and subtract 9. 90 minus 9. 90 minus 9 is 81. Look, with this method, I have for the multiplication table, the child is going to use addition and subtraction a lot and will develop a mental agility, right? And if they master addition above all, they won't have any problem with any other operation. It would be 60 minus 6. And 60 minus 6, which is a simple subtraction, means that 9 times 6, when calculated, equals exactly 54. Where does the 72 come from? You put a 0 next to the 8 and quickly say 80 minus 8. 80 minus 8 is 72, which means if you take 8 away from 80, you are left with 72. Look, here are some helpful cards that you can use to practice and master all of the multiplication tables more easily. So, with these little tricks, and you also have to support it with hands-on exercises. And this is the multiplication table. And I also have some additional helpful cards, so you can multiply numbers just as quickly and efficiently as a calculator can, right at your fingertips. 45 would be here because 50 minus 5 equals 45. If you take 5 away from 50, you are left with 45. So 50 minus 5 is 45. It would be 30 minus 3, which means in total, if you start with the number 30 and take away 3, you will end up with 27. This means that 30 minus 3 equals 27. Now subtract 20 minus 2. And 20 minus 2 equals 18. 9 times 45, let's see. That would be 450 minus 45. In other words, we are subtracting 45 from 450. 450 minus 45 means that 9 times 45 is equal to 405, since 450 minus 45 gives us 405. This shows that 9 multiplied by 45 results in 405. Next, we have 9 times 89. This is the same as multiplying 9 by 89. Finally, we consider 890 minus 89, which means we are taking 89 away from 890. 801. I insist that in order for you to truly master the fundamental basic operations in mathematics, you must first ensure that you possess the essential skill of addition. Without a solid understanding of how to add numbers together, it will be very difficult to progress to more advanced topics. Once you have the skill of addition, subtraction comes automatically. And then, of course, there are those worksheets, the ones we talked about earlier. 9 times 25. That would be 250 minus 25. And 250 minus 25, which is the same as subtracting 25 from 250. That gives us 225. Next, 9 times 67. To solve that, first consider what 670 minus 67 would be. So if you take 670 and subtract 67, how much is that in total? The first value is 603, which is written as 603. Next, we have 9 times 56, which means multiplying 9 by 56. Finally, the last number is 504 or 504. These are the three numbers. 603, the product of 9 and 56, and 504. My works. I have these works and 40 worksheets, and I also have some courses so you can master the abacus, others to help you with memory, concentration, logic, so that you can multiply 2-digit by 2-digit numbers, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, even with millions, right?